So let's review the rules that we did last time. If you are multiplying, what do you do to your exponents? Add them. Good job. If you are dividing, what do you do to your exponents? You subtract them. If you have a power to another power, what do? You multiply them. Now, this one, use brain, then speak, okay? Anything to the 0 power is 1. Good job. Hey, enough of that. All I'm hearing while I'm talking is your voice. I shouldn't hear that. And then the last one, the negatives switch sides. I call them the traitors. The negative ones are the traitors. They switch sides. Now, here's a little way you can remember that. Do you remember PEMDAS? Here, write this on your paper. You can write it in the space for number 1 because we're going to just do the even ones. What you're going to do is put like a little cloud or a star around the E. What this means is these are your exponent rules. It's like, yay, exponents. That's like what this means here. Yay, exponents. Okay. Believe it or not, I can teach this all by myself. I don't actually need any help. If you have a power to another power, do you see the P there for power? What that means is you multiply. You see that? If you are multiplying, what that means is you add. And if you are dividing, what that means is you subtract. So it's a little way that you can remember, and I'm going to write it on the board here for you too, so that it's behind me. These are your exponent rules. Forgot how to spell PEMDAS for a second. But that's your little cheat sheet to help you remember. So we'll do about half of this and then I'll give you a break, but I need for you to focus for me. Now, last time we did ones that were only like 1 step. These ones are going to be multiple steps. There's going to be a little bit more to them. All right, but same rules. Can you guys look here? You got to care now. Do you see how this is a power? Use your little cheat sheet. Power means multiply. So 4 times -3 is -12. Or somebody say it over there. Good job. Times 2x to the 4th, right? That part is just kind of there. Now, what's really in front of this? A 1. So when you multiply 1 times 2, you get 2. 1 times 2 is 2. Good. Listen, when you multiply, you add your exponents. Do you see that? So we're going to do -12 plus 4, which is -8. But if you didn't know that, you would put it in the calculator. I just don't want anyone to feel upset. Oh, I didn't know that. I don't really expect you to. You would put it in the calculator. Now, do you see how that's negative? It's a traitor. Draw your divider. I stole that from you. You said that last time and I liked it. I used it with my other class too. Draw your divider. The 2 stays put. Those x to the 8s, those 8 x's, those are traitors. They go down to the other side. So they switch sides. This one's going to be a little easier because there's not any negatives in it. Do you see how this whole part is squared? Okay. What is 2 squared? Hey, I've about had it. 2 squared is 4. Thank you. Now, do you see this V doesn't have anything written with it? So that's really a 1. And when you do a power, you multiply. 2 times 1 is 2. And then this times 2v squared just is sort of there. And then we're going to multiply that together, right? 4 times 2 is 8. And when you multiply, use your little cheat sheet. When you multiply, you add. So 2 plus 2 is 4. Like basically the math you're doing there is 2 plus 2 is 4. The math you're doing is not very hard. These just look kind of complicated. All right, for this one, you're going to ignore the denominator for a second. We're going to just do the top. We're multiplying. 2 times 3. 6. Good job. All I see is this x. Do you see any other x's? No, so just x. And you can put a 1 with it if you want to, but there wasn't anything to go with it. What do you think is your power for y? Look at it and put it together. What do you think? Why is it 6? That is correct. You're multiplying, so you want to add 3 plus 3 is 6. The hardest math you're doing is 3 plus 3. All All right, over all of that, just recopy it. It didn't change. I didn't do anything with it. Just leave it alone. Now, this is where we play our tug of war. Do you remember that tug of war? It was only 2 days ago. So it wasn't that long ago. All right. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Or you could put 2 over 1 if you want to. If you don't want to put the 1, fine. It's kind of up to you. All right. So play tug of war for the x's. Which side wins, the top or the bottom? Bottom. By how much? 1. You don't have to put the 1, but you can. Which side wins for y? The top. By how much? 2. You guys all came in here like all upset. That's the hardest thing you're doing is 6 minus 4. That's the only math that you're doing. And you guys are staying nice and focused for me. Let's keep that up. We'll do two more, and then I'll give you a break. All right, we're going to kind of ignore the numerator for a second. Just leave that alone. We're going to do the denominator first because that has like a little bit more to it. We're going to multiply those together. So 2 times 4, 8. For the x's, you are multiplying. So that means you want to add. Good. So when you add those together, -1 plus 2. Yeah, that's just 1, or you don't even need to put anything. And then what else is there? Just because it's there. Yeah, a y. And you can put a 1 on that if you want as well. And then we're going to do the same thing we did in the one before. Draw your divider. 3/8. What do you think about that? 3/8. It's good. You can't do anything with that. What if it was 4/8? You could, perfect, 1/2. Okay, but 3/8 doesn't simplify. All right, do your tug of war. Which side wins for x? The top. By how much? 1. And then y, the top by 1. So same thing. All right, one more. Hang in there with me. You guys are doing great with this. I'm like super, super proud of you guys. All right, we're going to leave the numerator alone for just a second. Like, just copy it. And we're going to take all of this to the third. I'm going to be super impressed if anyone remembers this. If not, we'll just put it in the calculator. But use brain, then speak. 2 to the third. It's not 6. Oh, it is 8. It means 2 times 2 times 2. But if you didn't know that, it's okay. You would type it in Desmos. Okay. And then for m, do you see how it's a power? A power means you multiply. So -4 times 3 is -12. Now this one's a little tricky because we've got a lot of negatives here, but I believe in you and we're going to get through it. First, let's do the 2/8. That will reduce. 1/4. Good job. Now, do you see how these are both negative? That means they both switch sides. These ones come over here and these ones come over here. So that m to the 4th goes on the bottom, the m to the 12th goes on the top. They both swapped because they're both negative. And then you're going to play your tug of war. So draw your divider, put your 1 and your 4 in there. Which side wins for m? The top. By how much? 8. All right, go ahead and flip over. Again, we're going to just do all the even ones. You can do the rest of these if you want to, and I'll check them for you. I just thought for like working on these in class, we don't need to do all 22 of these. I will think about that. That's a good question. I'll think about it. All right, so for number 12, that 2x cubed, you're going to kind of just leave that alone for a second. Life is like that sometimes. Go ahead and shut that for me. Thank you. We're going to do the denominators. Go ahead and shut that for me. Thanks. So do you see how it's a power? Now I have our little cheat sheet written on the board. A power means you're going to multiply. So -1 times 3 is -3. Do you see how I did that? -1 times 3. Now, those are traders. They're going to come to the other side. Watch me. I'll like act this out for you. This team has 3 people. This team has 3 people. But these 3 are traders and they're going to come over here. So now there's 6. So it is 2x to the 6. Now there's nothing left on the bottom. So you can put 1 or even just nothing. You're allowed to have the denominator be blank. But if you aren't sure, you can put 1s all over the place. All right, you can put 1s anywhere. This is probably the easiest one on here. What is anything to the 0 power? 1. 1, which means it essentially goes away. And so your answer is x to the 4th, y to the 3rd. Just remember the only part that equals 1 is the part that has the 0. The rest of it's still there. So to piggyback on that, the x to the 0, do you see that there? That's that's 1, so it goes away. I mean, if it's 1, you guys get what I'm saying? If you multiply by 1, it's not going to change anything. So it just goes away. Just scribble it out. But the rest of it is still there. So we still have to do the rest of the problem, unfortunately. And this one's kind of tough because there's a negative. Now look. Oh, is that a question or a stretch? Okay. Do you see how we have 2 to the power negative 3? Do you guys see that? I don't, bless you, I don't really expect anyone to know that, okay? But I expect that, well, you guys are close. Hold on a second. No. Can you just let me type it in? 2 to the power negative 3 came out to a decimal, so I'm going to hit this handy fraction bar. It is 1/8. So you guys were saying 8, you were close. What the negative does is it makes it a traitor. It flips it over. So it's 1/8. Can you please stop that? You're distracting me, and that means you're surely distracting other people. Because if I'm distracted, others are too. All right, 1/8. Then we're going to have y. And this is a power. I've got the cheat sheet on the board behind me. A power means you multiply. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. And the rest of that is going to kind of just hold on a second. You just rewrite it. But do you see what I did with the y? What did I do with it? I put a little 1 with that. Anytime it's empty, you can put a 1 there. All right. Now we're going to multiply. 1/8 times 2. If you don't know what that is, that's perfectly fine. Type it in the calculator. Look, 1/8 times 2, 1/4. Do you see how I did that? Put it in the calculator. All right. So when you multiply those, you're going to get 1/4. When you multiply, look behind me. I have the cheat sheet right there. You add. So negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5. Good job. And then what do you think about the x to the third? Are there any other x's over here to combine them with? No. So it's just going to be x to the third. Right? Draw your divider. I like that you said that. I'm stealing that. Draw your divider. We've got our 1/4 that's not changing. What's the only thing that's a traitor? What's the only thing that's going to change sides? Yeah, the negative. So that y to the 5th comes down here. And then that x to the 3rd stays put. The only thing that changes sides is the one that's negative. Negatives are your traitors. All right, you guys are doing great. I see a power here. Look behind me. A power means that you multiply. So negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. And then the rest of that, I am basically just going to copy down. I just rewrote it. Anyone can rewrite what's there. You can do it. Can you all focus for me? Now, do you see how this is multiplying? Do you see that there? Look behind me. Multiply means add. So negative 12 plus 4. Negative 12 plus 4 is negative 8. And then I'm basically just going to rewrite the rest of that. Again, life is like that. Sometimes you're going to be okay. Do you see how they're both negative? What does that mean? They both switch. Does the 2 move? No. The 2 just stays where it is. That x to the 3rd comes to the top. The x to the 8th goes to the bottom. They're both traitors, so they all switch sides. And then your last step is you're going to play your tug of war. Which side wins the bottom by how much? By 5. Now, you can't leave a blank numerator, so just stick a 1 there. And again, if you are not sure, put 1s all over the place. You can put 1s anywhere you want. All right, 2 more. We're going to hang in there. And the last one looks really scary, but it's actually not. Okay. Number 20. 2 to the 3rd. Do you see how this is to the 3rd power here? 2 to the 3rd is 8. If you didn't know that, calculate it. Now look behind me. A power means that you multiply. Power means multiply. So for x, you're doing 3 times 3. 9. Good job. 3 times 3 is 9. And then for z, you're doing 2 times 3, which is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. All right. Down here, we are multiplying. Look behind me. Multiply means add. So for x, look at your x's. You've got 3 plus -4. -1. Good job. For y, oh, what's going on with y? I just noticed this. There is not another one, so it's just y to the 4th. That doesn't combine with anything. And then for z, what do you think? 5. Why is it 5? Because that's correct. You're adding 2 plus 3. All right, so draw your divider. Does the 8 do anything? No, just rewrite it. Now you've got these traders. I don't have 9 fingers on one hand, but just pretend there's 9 over here and then 1 over here. This 1 is a trader and it switches sides. So then you have 10. So this one is switching sides, goes up there, you have 10. Again, what do you think for the y? Yeah, it just stays because there's not another y to combine it with. Like it's the only one, y to the 4th, so you just leave it there. All right, and then for z, what do you think? It goes on the top, why? There's more on the top, that side wins by 1. Nice, you guys are doing awesome, good job. All right, this one looks really, really, really scary, but why is it actually not all that bad? Yeah, that part all equals 1. And then I'm just recopying what's on the denominator. So that entire thing all went away and turned into 1. Anything to the 0 power is going to give you 1. And then we just have to deal with those traders. The H's, the J's, and the K's, they're all negative, so they're all going to switch sides. So what's going to get written on the top here? H3, J with a 4, K, 2. And then what goes on the bottom? Because there actually is still something there. Just that 2 that was there in the first place that just is still there, that didn't do anything. It just... Oh, you can put a 1 out front if you want to. You can put 1s anywhere you want to. You can put a 1 there. You can fill the problem with 1s.